At the crossroads of human history and nature's sacred gifts lies a plant whose presence weaves quietly but indelibly through the fabric of civilization, Cannabis sativa. For millennia, this humble yet mighty plant has stood as both companion and catalyst in humanity's evolution, not only agriculturally and economically, but spiritually, socially, and even philosophically. The story of cannabis is not merely botanical or political, it is a profound reflection of the human condition, our needs, aspirations, fears, and capacity to grow. Cannabis, like fire, wheat, and language, is one of those elemental forces that catalyzed the emergence of society. It is not just a crop. It is a cultural artifact, a living symbol of humanity's evolving consciousness. Here I explore the domestication and historical significance of cannabis through a philosophical lens, tracing its journey from wild grass to sacred herb, from field to altar, from rope to remedy, and from prohibition back to liberation. Cannabis likely began its coevolution with humanity in Central Asia, in the regions we now know as Mongolia and southern Siberia. Archaeobotanical evidence suggests that humans began to cultivate cannabis as early as 12,000 years ago, making it one of the first plants intentionally grown and harvested. It was likely used for three simultaneous purposes: fiber, for rope, cloth, and construction, seed, as a highly nutritious food source, and resin, for medicinal and spiritual purposes. To domesticate a plant is not a mere act of control, it is a covenant, a mutual relationship. In selecting cannabis, humanity saw more than utility, it sensed potential. Here was a plant that could serve the hand, feed the belly, soothe the mind, and open the soul. This multidimensional utility marked cannabis as a protocultural cornerstone. It taught early humans about patience, care, the cycles of sowing and reaping, foundations of settled life. In this sense, cannabis can be said to have domesticated us as much as we domesticated it. As humans transitioned from nomadic hunter-gatherers to settled agricultural societies, cannabis played a foundational role in establishing the earliest forms of structured community. Alongside barley and wheat, cannabis was part of the original suite of plants that enabled Neolithic peoples to remain in one place, store food, produce clothing, and develop trade. The plant's stalks offered durable fibers, hemp, that would become crucial in the development of ropes, sails, and textiles. Its seeds provided a vital source of protein and essential fatty acids. Its resinous flowers were pressed, burned, or infused to treat pain, inflammation, and various ailments. Even in societies with no writing systems, cannabis functioned as a technology, a living, growing tool that extended human capacity far beyond immediate limitations. By the 3rd millennium BCE, cannabis was widespread across the Eurasian continent, traded along what would become the Silk Road. It reached ancient China, where the philosopher Emperor Shen Nung praised its medicinal properties. It reached the Indian subcontinent, where it was absorbed into spiritual ritual and reverence under the name Bhang. In Zoroastrian Persia, it was associated with divine wisdom. Everywhere it went, it inspired not only utility but myth, art, and reflection. Beyond its practical uses, cannabis became a guidepost in humanity's search for meaning. Ancient peoples did not distinguish between medicine, magic, and philosophy, they were woven together. In Vedic texts, cannabis is one of the 5 sacred plants. In the Scythian burial mounds of the Eurasian steppes, braziers filled with burning cannabis have been found, suggesting a funerary or transcendental use. Among Taoists, it was believed to cleanse the spirit and deepen meditation. The spiritual use of cannabis is not escapism. It is engagement with a deeper order of reality. The alteration of consciousness is, in many traditions, not deviation but revelation. Cannabis taught our ancestors to be still, to feel more, to sense subtlety. It opened doors not only to inner vision, but to compassion, to wonder, to the realization that the boundaries of the self are porous and elastic. This is no small philosophical insight. Cannabis challenged the early human ego. It taught humility in the face of nature and awe in the presence of mystery. It suggested that reality was not entirely fixed or mechanical, but could be shaped by consciousness, attention, and communion with the invisible. With the rise of great civilizations, China, India, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, cannabis did not disappear into myth. It adapted. It became a workhorse of empire. The sails of Phoenician ships were woven from hemp. Chinese records from the Han dynasty speak of its use in medicine and agriculture. In medieval Islamic medicine, it was considered a remedy for epilepsy, melancholy, and digestive issues. Hemp became indispensable in Europe's rise. The ships that spread European colonialism were lashed and rigged with hemp rope. The American colonies grew cannabis under mandate from the British Crown. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson both farmed it. It was so central that in some periods, it could be used to pay taxes. Yet philosophy teaches us that suppression breeds resurgence. In the soil of injustice, seeds of resistance sprout. The criminalization of cannabis awakened a new consciousness, a counterculture, a revival of ancient wisdom, a re-evaluation of what society deems valuable or dangerous. The plant, ever patient, waited for humanity to remember. The present moment marks a turning point. Around the world, cannabis is being re-legalized, rediscovered, and reintegrated into medicine, industry, and culture. This is more than a policy shift, it is a resacralization of a long-lost ally. It is a healing of historical trauma, not just for the plant, but for ourselves. Cannabis teaches interdependence. It shows us the porous boundaries between species, between mental states, between individual and collective. In an age of fragmentation, it is a plant of integration. In an age of speed and distraction, it slows and softens. In an age of domination, it teaches partnership. Its return may signal more than economic or medical opportunities. It may help us reimagine what civilization could mean, not conquest, not control, but cultivation of mind, of earth, of soul. It may help us recover a lost philosophy of gentleness, reciprocity, and symbiotic intelligence. In the story of cannabis, we glimpse the story of ourselves. From the first tendrils coaxed by early farmers in Central Asia to the digital dispensaries of the 21st century, cannabis has been a thread through our journey toward consciousness, connection, and care. Its leaves point in many directions, toward the soil, toward the stars, toward the heart. It is not a panacea, nor a savior. But it is a reminder that wisdom often grows in overlooked places. That healing can be slow, green, and wild. That civilization is not built merely with stone and steel, but with seeds, silence, and the humble rituals of tending to life. Cannabis is more than a plant. It is a philosophy rooted in chlorophyll. A quiet, verdant teacher, offering itself again and again for those willing to listen. Let us return not only to the garden, but to the gardener's mind.